What's up, everybody? This is the Wrestleholics podcast. I'm Drew.
DC Hendricks.
Manny T.
Hey, I don't know what
Hey.
y'all go back and forth on the A with me, man.
No,
We
y'all
did
go
do it
back.
the one time just to throw you off, bro.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Got
But
fired and
today,
everything.
man, we got a special guest, man. This actually was supposed to happen probably I'm gonna say about 2 to 3 years ago, man. I've been saying to have this guy on for a while now, but the timing is right now. So let me introduce the reigning NWA national champion, Big Strong Mims.
Oh, hey, that's me. That's me. I was like, oh, who's this guy they're bringing on? He sounds pretty great. And then it was me. I was like, oh, okay. Well,
Man,
I
how
do a
you
little.
doing, man?
Uh, man, I'm doing pretty good. As good as I can be. Hey, life as the NWA National Heavyweight Champion is pretty sweet. Life be lifing, but I'm still here. I'm still champion. So obviously, I'm having a good time.
Oh man, that's
Congratulations.
great.
Congratulations. I actually just watched your match with Birchall, and it was a pretty hell of a match you had.
Oh, why, thank you. Why, thank you. If anything, I think, that is me finally getting really comfortable in the position, really getting comfortable as champion. I think, if anything, if you watch a lot of young champions that are champions very early on in their career, you start to see a point where it kind of just like clicks for them, and they're
Yeah.
Yeah.
just comfortable in their mode. That's when you know they're going to be something big. That's not me toot my own horn. I'm definitely going to be something big. I'm not taking this opportunity to be like, hey, I'm going to be the greatest of all time, but
That's
So,
right.
You heard it here
That's
first.
right. Talk your stuff.
Yep.
exactly. But I mean, it's something like a young John Cena,
Oh, man.
A young John
something like a
Cena.
young John Cena. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? A young Sheamus.
I like that. I like
So
that.
talk so let's before obviously you got to today, it was probably, a long, somewhat of a journey and a grind to get to where you are. So kind of talk about the early days of Big Strong Mims, becoming a professional wrestler. How'd you get started?
So I like to tell this one just because, hey, I always like to remember where I came from. Starting off, I was in my hometown of Clarksville, Tennessee. There was a very small town called Woodlawn, Tennessee. Right outside of that, that's where we trained at in the Tried and True Academy, under Crimson's tutelage. So he owned the company, which was a school based off of his promotion of Tried and True Pro. They started in 2015, and we opened up the school April 2nd of 2018. The school ran for about like 2 years or so. COVID kind of, COVID do what COVID do,
Yeah.
right? Life be life, and then life is undefeated. But you know,
Like
through that time, we had a few great trainers. We had Jeremiah Plunkett, who was the beginner's trainer. He's also your NWA Mid American title holder right now. He's the champion. And then you had Crazy Steve, who was there just for my class for the intermediate course or whatnot. At this point, TNA legend. And then you had the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, Tom Latimer. Am I reading this right? I'm not reading anything. But that guy was apparently he was apparently the person who took over my training for a good amount of the last year and a half or so of the academy being open. So I did most of my training under Tom Latimer. So he's the one, whenever you think about like what I'm going to do in my career, he's the one you can blame first and foremost for every good thing and every bad thing that I do. It's all his fault. It's all so
I
through that
got you.
time, we had a lot of big names come through that school, through the connections that all my trainers had, to sprinkle in a little bit of like, finishing touches on the wrestler that I was. Before, actually, even before and after you saw me on NWA Power. So the funny thing is, the very first episode of Power in 2019, I'm on the first episode. I'm in the third match, and I'm going against for the first time outside of just like a chain wrestling drill. I had never actually like wrestled against Tom Latimer at that point. There is only a few times we have ever shared the ring, right? This was the first time. This is one of the only times ever, less than three at this point, if I remember correctly. I don't think we've wrestled that much at all. Was that very first match on Power? It didn't go well for me. It didn't. I think Yeah, that was my second time, and actually that all happened that week. I think we had a chain wrestling drill in class that week, and then he was just like, "Hey, Mimsy, brother, you want an opportunity, brother?" And I was like, "Absolutely, sir. Thank you, brother." Yeah, and then the rest is kind of history or whatnot. I know this is like a weird retelling of it, but I get to talk about my past a lot, so I try to cut it down or make something a little bit new or kind of tell something different every time I tell a story about, hey, this is where I came from, this is what I did. Um, but yeah, no, I had a pretty good upbringing in the pro wrestling world. I was technically training for longer than most people do. I was training for about like 2 years. So during that time, I'm still like I'm on NWA Power from like 2019 until now, but I was training Tried and True Pro from 2018 till at least 2020 when the school shut down.
Okay.
So yeah, it's always a journey. I mean, if anything, I've gotten this advice from WWE, NWA, TNA legend, Jazz,
Oh,
that you
Nice.
always keep up your training. Always keep up your training. You should always be training. You should never leave. You should never leave training as a professional, right? Um, so that's something that Jazz and Medusa definitely stuck in my head a lot through our time at NWA together and seeing them backstage is, hey, are you training? Are you still training? What are you doing with your training? How's your training going? Hey, have you been training? Are you training? I don't have you trained since the last time I saw you? That's always what it's going to be.
oh man.
Um, so yeah, that's a little bit of my upbringing in pro wrestling to kind of cover that. Outside of pro wrestling, shoot. Hey, when you get a real one, you don't ask where they came from. You just know. You just know.
Just
Man.
know.
So throughout this journey, man, like, do you just even remember one thing, like how your first ever match had went? Like from what you thought it was going to be to right afterward, where you like, damn, all right, that went kind of good, or like, damn, that went really bad.
Ah, that's a good one. Uh, you know what? I think I may have gotten this from Tom. Uh, but this is after my first match. So I didn't actually like really get to meet Tom at the time. He was still going under Bram. I didn't really get to meet him until way after my first match before he became my trainer. But he's like, yeah, brother, I hate watching my own matches. Like it's just I just hate it. I just hate it. I think I'm the worst. Oh God, I'm terrible. And I'm like, okay, well, I've inherited that same thing. I can barely even watch my own matches, even when they're really good. Like, I think probably one of my best matches ever was the match with Birchall that got mentioned earlier. It's one of my best matches ever, in my own opinion, and in a lot of other people's opinion in the locker room. And I still just gonna be like,
Could have been something.
every
It could
match
have
I'm
been
in.
fixed.
Yeah,
You
I'm
are
always like, oh yeah, every match I'm in is garbage because I'm in it. But
You need to start giving yourself the credit, man.
yeah, exactly. Like hey, you got to stay humble as much as you can. You got to be as modest as possible before somebody humbles you. Stay humble before somebody else humbles you.
oh,
Um, but going back to my first match was with Jeremiah Plunkett, the beginner's trainer. It was a huge honor for me to be able to wrestle my trainer in the first place. So it meant that I was doing something right. After a little while, and Plunky's gonna hate this if he ever hears it. That was actually a secret reward for all the best students. You got to wrestle the trainers. And even if that's not true, I'm gonna act like it's true. Uh, but yeah, no, it was scary because I think before the match happened, out of nowhere, we had not tried this yet because it's just a regular beginner's course or whatnot, just a 12-week course. You don't really get too in depth on a lot of stuff there, right? You know, and we had a school set up to where we did like a three-tier thing. So you have a beginner's training, you have an intermediate course, and you also have an advanced course, some kind of like, OVW in their system. Um, and so just knowing the absolute basics, not knowing anything crazy, not knowing anything super duper special, this man, Jeremiah Plunkett, this man looks at me and says, before we go out and have this match, like a few hours beforehand, I'm sitting here freaking out because I'm like, oh, I actually got to go and wrestle. This isn't a training match. He says, yeah, yeah, brother. blah blah blah, something about me being nervous and I had to pee 16 times. That's me saying it. And he's just like, yeah, brother, we're gonna be okay. He was like, yeah, Mimsy, we're just gonna call it out there. What?
Called on the spot.
My bald brother. What are you talking about? What do you mean? We ain't never did that.
Like,
You
time
ain't
out,
never
bro.
taught me that. Yeah, no, we gonna call a time. I can't use my other hand. I'm holding my phone. But yeah, no, we gonna call a timeout on that. What'd you say? Hmm? You did. That didn't sound like a whole match you planned out. That didn't sound like we didn't even. I wasn't even thinking about time. I wasn't thinking about anything else like that. I was just like, oh, what do we do? We can't just go out there and just be out there. That doesn't work that way. I don't know what you're talking about. And again, that's how professionally wrestling. I thought professional wrestling was for a long time, but still, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Who am I, Ricky Steamboat, Mimsy Steamboat, or something like that? Boy, get out of here. So, um, with that first match, we finally go out there and we have the match. I think the most important thing for me, that makes me look back on it fondly, even though I was just like, oh my God, I screwed up this, I screwed up that, which apparently I didn't screw up that much, as Plunky kept telling me over and over again. The thing that went right for me, the only thing that was really important was that feeling whenever I walked out. So I was super nervous before I came out. I think shoot, there might be a small video of me like before the match where like I'm talking to Plunkett or whatnot because I'm super nervous. He hates that video. I think I wanted to post it one time. He was like, "Yeah, don't ever post that." But one day I will. One day I will. Just to, I have to at some point. Has to go out there. But I don't know what it was, man. It's something that definitely happens to me in every match, and I'm glad that this is a streak I've kept up. But all that nervousness went away as soon as the music hit and I walked out the curtain. Like it's a different feeling. It's like I don't. I think the best way to describe it is like that flow state that people talk about. So it's basically what happened. Like I stopped being nervous. Like again, this is somebody who I took like brother. I took like 8 shits. Mostly nothing was there. I pissed like at least 16 times. I stopped counting after 16. I didn't have anything to eat. I didn't have anything to drink that day, but apparently I was just full because I kept having to go to the bathroom. That's how nervous I was.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
And then yeah, finally at the point where like I've been nervous, I've been like racking my brain for like a few days now, and especially even more so before the show finally started. And then finally getting out there and then just I don't know, feeling like I was baptized by pro wrestling at that point, walking through that curtain. It was different. Hearing the music go off and finally getting into the match, like I mean, I definitely had what I like to call virgin ears, where I couldn't hear a single thing. Didn't hear a single thing at all. Walked out, stopped listening. Ears, just turn them things off. I didn't hear a single word he said whenever he tried to call anything to me during the match. I was just like, oh, yeah, we wrestling. Yeah, we wrestling. I don't remember any like I can't even remember my perspective I had during the match. All I can remember was what happened after the match. Like it was a lot of fun. I do remember that. It was still just really nerve-wracking. I was kind of just like I wasn't trying to get through it. I wasn't just trying to get through it. I wasn't just like, oh, we just gotta do this and this and get out of here. No, I was I think I was kind of taking the whole experience all at one time. So it's kind of like weird to say. It's almost like I didn't get to enjoy it as much as, most people would. And I think it's a great thing now that I can look back on it and feel like I can really sit here and like, absorb and really enjoy the matches I'm in instead of just like flowing straight through it.
Pretty much being a fan.
Yeah, exactly. It's like being a fan at your very first show. You kind of just like, all this is happening at once. It's an entire experience. And then you don't really like enjoy it as much as you will later on because you're just like, oh, snap, I'm happy to be here. Wait, this actually happens? What's going on here? What are they doing in there? That kind of thing. Yeah.
I can attest to the virgin ears because I was an amateur wrestler for a long time. And my first match getting on the mats, I forgot what my coaches sounded like. So I can attest to that. You walking out the curtain and it just shuts off. You're just like a deer in the headlights. You're like, I'm just gonna go out here and do what I know.
Oh yeah. Luckily for me, my first matches as an amateur wrestler were like preseason takedown jams and stuff like that. So not hearing anything was like that was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I think there was only like one preseason takedown jam that I had that I got robbed. I got robbed and I didn't actually like I didn't hear anything until the last match where I did get robbed. This guy, like, I took him down, literally, like, just did an ankle pick on this guy, which I'm never usually doing ankle picks. I'm too big to do it.
Ankle pick guy.
See, then he's fast and he knows what he's doing, right? I'll pull an ankle pick. If I pull an ankle pick on you, you're bad at amateur wrestling. That's what it is. If you're really good, I'm going for the move that always works, which is a Smith single. I mean, hey, you're either gonna go down and get your leg broke. What do you want to do?
Yep.
So even for the best of us, like if somebody gets in deep on me with a Smith single, brother, I'm going down. I don't care if I'm Kale Sanderson himself. Hey, brother, you got in that deep, you got it. I'm going down. I like my legs, I'm broke.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I took this kid down and they're just like, yeah, point red. Like everything stops for a moment and I'm like, I literally have his ankle in my hand, like it's up here, and I turn over, look at his ankle, and I was like, "That's red." What is this man talking? Dude's on the ground. He's on the ground looking up at me. He looks at his own ankle and then looks at the ref. We both look at the ref. All of our coaches are standing up at this point. What?
Yeah.
Point red, what are you talking about? My God, this is the takedown jam. This is an opposite day. What are we doing here?
Right.
My coach comes and storms the mat. It's like a whole big deal or whatnot. Like, hey, brother, I don't care. I'm just happy to be here. I'll take the silver medal. It was the last like takedown match of the whole tournament or whatnot. And just, nope. Referee just doesn't care. He's just like, no, yeah. Even the dude I'm wrestling takes off his little ankle bracelet. He's like, yeah, this is red. What are you talking about? I lost. This is it. Nope. You won, kid. You won. Shut up. Take the win. What's your problem?
That's amazing. All right, so I got a 2-part question for you. You ready for this?
Yes.
Question 1A, what's your favorite throw? And question 1B, how did amateur wrestling help you transition into pro wrestling?
My favorite throw. If anything, like I'll just say my favorite takedown is usually like I would say my favorite takedown is always like a Smith single, but like if anything, like my coaches were always in my ear about going for a blast double, and when it came to any throws, we were usually not allowed to do them because hey, it's the folk style wrestling. They're gonna get mad at you if you throw to anybody. You know, with freestyle wrestling, I mean, a German is always satisfying, but honestly, I think if anything, just a really good double leg. Like I actually took the double leg and put it into my professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always do. Like I have a really fun spot where I like to pick people up in the corner and just walk them around and have them like single armed, like basically holding both their legs and just do a really good double leg. You can never beat that. It always looks good, and then also it works in real life.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I call that the old Chad Mendez double leg where he picks him up and walks him around the cage before he slams him.
Yes. See, you know what the bad thing is? I feel like a bad fan, especially of UFC. Whenever I was really into it, that was something that I really love watching. I love watching all the wrestlers who have like a big wrestling background go in there and dominate because it's probably like one of the most dominant martial arts that they have in most of the MMA world is wrestling. You got a wrestling background, you're probably winning most of your matches. It's just statistically, it's just there, right?
Stud.
Oh yeah, like I mean, other than that, like if somebody's practicing BJJ, like if it's wrestling or BJJ, basically like grappling in general, which grappling has always been beautiful to me. I mean, striking's cool. That's the thing. That's really cool. Like I've always thought like boxing looked really nice. I think like I've always had this love for Muay Thai, and I think like Street Fighter did that to me. But still, at
fight
the
all
end
of
of the
us.
day, yeah, dude, what? See, like I always like to say this joke, but it's actually this is real life. This is real life for me. when it comes to fighting anybody, right? Because sometimes in your life or whatever, you got to fight, right? As adults, it's definitely riskier to do that. You should also avoid fights at all times. I
Facts.
think it's, hey, be a pacifist so you ain't got to sit in jail. Be a pacifist so you ain't got to die and you ain't got to get your ass whooped, right? Because there's almost no reason to do it. If I ever get to a point where I have to fight somebody, right? There's only uh 3 martial artists that I will ever be like, you know what? You got this, big dog. You know what? Whatever we were arguing about, you win. I don't care if I was wrong. You probably got it, my guy. The first one's gonna be like basically probably like any Muay Thai fighter. Like I'm probably gonna be like, yeah, ooh, yeah, nah, you might have it. You might have it, my boy. Um, I think after that, it's gonna be probably like a BJJ expert, like definitely somebody who's at least like purple or blue belt above. Like you, I might be able to win this, but it's not gonna feel good, and you might break something. Like I'm gonna break some of yours, but you definitely you gonna make me regret it. And then another wrestler. It's like, hey, this the main reason why they're on the bottom of making me think about it is that sometimes when you just have to wrestle another guy and you guys aren't hitting each other, I think during that time, if he doesn't fold you up like a pretzel too quickly, you guys can at least think about it and talk it out afterwards. You can be like, oh, this is fun.
Oh
I
yeah.
just like competing. This is great.
I know being a wrestler got me out of a couple fights actually, because we'll go to square up and I'll kind of do this little thing and they're like, oh no, nope, no, not messing with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, that's turned people off of fighting me before here and there, but also like the thing is, I think like I was telling this to a lady friend of mine the other day. I was like, you know what? If you want to get your kids into something, they say they want to do this, they want to do that, when they want to learn martial arts. I think some of the best stuff to put them in as a kid is BJJ or wrestling, because at least like, hey, you're taking down the risks of concussions and getting knocked out and all that stuff like that,
Oh yeah.
breaking hands and everything. You're going straight to something that works in every situation. There is almost no situations where wrestling does not work. I mean, obviously, if you get jumped, you get jumped. Hey,
Right.
they,
There.
I
Man.
mean, hey, boxing's great, kickboxing is great, Muay Thai is great. Those are not sports you get into to fight multiple people. If you get jumped, you just might want to think about whatever you did to make
That's
them people
right.
that man.
Right.
He said, "What did you do to get in this situation? You need to think back."
No, I
Um,
definitely understand you on the back and away from fights. Like I've even had one where I
yeah,
remember me and Buddy was about to get to it, and then he start kind of just kicking his feet a little bit. I said, "Man, this bastard's about to use his fucking feet." All right, not about to do it.
You got it.
you got this one.
Yep, you
You
can have
got
it.
it.
That's quote of the day. We quote Mims on that. You might have this one, my boy.
Got this one.
You might just be right.
You
might
had this,
just be
man.
That's quote of the day.
right.
So I wanna dig into your mindset as a champion, man, because like I've talked to a lot of people that I've also went through you know the, you know amateur wrestling and all that, and the mindset changes, right? Like once you become champion and get your first taste of gold and become the champion of a company, they talk about their mindset changes. So kind of talk about your journey prior to that and your mindset now after becoming the NWA champion.
All right. I mean, my mindset before like my first championship, which came around like the more closer to the end of 2023, it was really like it was a lot of pressure on me. I mean, I've always felt pressure in the NWA. I've definitely been in a lot of situations to where I think I didn't believe in myself as much as other people did.
Mm.
You know, um, I felt a lot of imposter syndrome coming into the NWA and then being there for as long as I was. I mean, there's not many. You can look at the roster now and see there's not as many people that are there since the first episode, since the first season, since the first 3 seasons,
Mhm.
right? That are still there, that are still getting a paycheck, that are still having great matches, that are still part of this company. There's not many of those people that are still there at all. It's less than 10 at this point, almost less than 5, if I remember correctly, of people who are still left. Um, but there was a lot of, I'm just happy to be here, brother. Like a lot of that going on before I won that title. And when I did, I was always thinking about, hey, what do I do when I win my first title? Never won any titles on the indies. I've only won 2 titles in my entire life
Mm.
for professional wrestling. It has been the NWA World Television Championship and then also the NWA National Heavyweight Championship. So with those, like, it's a big honor that the only titles I've ever had have been in a major company, have been televised, have been, something super significant, to where I can point to a long lineage of legends that have also held that same title and try to hold myself in the same regard. I think once I won the TV title and I stopped crying like a baby, uh, it kind of hit me after a few days of like, well, I spent like maybe like I spent the 5 years of my career working towards something like this. I spent 2 years, almost actually 18 months, specifically working just for this, right? Went through a lot of experiences in pursuit of that, learned a lot of lessons, sometimes not the easiest way, like people would prefer to learn them. And then finally found myself holding it. And the imposter syndrome was still there,
Hmm.
right? I felt like I had not deserved it, even though I had been through so much. And a lot of people were telling me, hey, you deserve it. A lot of positive feedback on social media from family, from friends. A lot of people thought, like, hey, this is what makes you legitimate. A lot of different things like that, right? To where I shouldn't feel the imposter syndrome. I had the idea of what's next. No longer was it, hey, I'm barely even here. I hope I still have my job next week. Hey, I hope that they don't just call me and tell me, hey, you know that contract you signed? Just go ahead and rip that up.
Yeah,
You're the shit. You're the fucking drizzle, Mims. Get out of here. Um, that went away. Yes, brother. You never want to be the drizzles. You never want to be the
No.
the drizzling shit. Oh man. Um, that all went away. It went to a what's next? Like, what do I do next? How do I become a great champion? That's where the idea went. Uh, and that was just winning my first title. I think things are a lot different now, winning the national title. One, winning the national title was completely unexpected. You get told good news in the business all the time, right? And promoters will come up to you, bookers will come up to you and say, "Hey, I want to do this with you. I want to put you here. I want to put you there.
right.
We're putting the rocket to you, brother. We're pushing you." That kind of thing. And you know, it's something that I don't think I was ever in a position where I could actually perceive getting pushed. I would get told all the time that, hey, brother, you got to see that you're getting pushed here. You're getting pushed here. You're getting pushed here. And I'd never be able to fully appreciate that because I was always so worried about like, hey, I'm getting pushed. What are you talking about? I barely even have a job here. Same thing with being champion. Like that's the ultimate. Hey, dude, we are pushing you. Like if you did not know before, you have a title. We are putting you up at the forefront. You are important now. You are part of this company. We are putting our stamp of approval on you in the shape of this belt. We are telling you you are this good, and it took a while. Uh, Even more so after losing it. After losing the title, I still was kind of like learning to accept not only my place, but enjoy the fruits of my labor at that point, more so after I lost it. Before I got this national title, actually having the national title now, I'm like, okay, well, this is more of what a champion, I feel like being a champion should feel like where it feels like I'm doing something significant. It feels like I have a position that is mine, only mine, not just, hey, we gave you the belt because we just gave you
Right.
the belt,
Right.
that kind of thing. Um, so I would think to follow up on that, I think it's a night and day thing between winning my first title and then winning now my second title in the business. And the confidence that I have is solely like I have a lot of people behind me that are really good at letting me know exactly where I need to be and where I should go and the potential that I have, right? So I think I'm enjoying it more than I ever have before, right? Not just holding a championship, but also professional wrestling as a whole. I'm finally getting to that point where like I enjoy every part of it instead of being scared shitless about all these new experiences. I'm clamoring for those new experiences with different eyes, you know.
Dude, so through amateur wrestling, through like just starting off training, or just even now being a national champion, man, what's kept you motivated over the years just to keep on going, just not like giving up on uh just the dream of just being a professional wrestler?
Um, I think there's a mix of what keeps me going. The first and foremost is the selfish one, the self-righteous one, where I'm just like, yeah, I want to prove to people that I'm right, that I knew what I was talking about.
Facts.
Hey, who doesn't love the feeling of being right?
Love it.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
Hey, the sky is green today. No, it's not, Matthew. It's no way.
Especially when you bet on yourself. That's the best part about it.
Yep.
That's
Yes.
really the best part about it.
I think because my older sister, she's also going through her own journey in the entertainment business to be an actress, to be a model, and like a host, like an event host or whatever, a
Wow.
show host. And we recently did a show that'll be coming out a little bit later this month. And she's kind of seen how it was for me at the beginning of the 6 years because she's going through her own journey right now to find her spot. And the thing is, we like to say this all the time. My mother did not raise any regular kids. She didn't raise any normal kids, and that's a good thing. That's an extremely good thing. I think that we're people that we weren't initially bred to succeed, but we're people who do succeed. Not just me and my older sister, but also my younger sister. And so with that, she's understanding more now than almost anybody else that I know. Um, that hasn't stepped foot in the business, who hasn't, laid down and sacrificed what they've had to be a professional wrestler. I think she's understanding kind of the journey we go through, that you're going to have a lot of people that tell you, hey, well, you haven't done anything yet. You should give up. Hey, you got this going on. Maybe you should worry more about that. Hey, you should focus on just getting a job and settling down. There's a lot of people who will tell you that all the time. I was getting that all the time from the point I started training, even before I started training. I had been in the business for almost a year, like just working in security, being a part of these shows or whatnot, since like 2017. I didn't get trained until 2018. I didn't have my first match until 2018. And, even from then, people telling you, hey, it's a pipe dream. Hey, you can't actually do that. Hey, maybe you should focus on something that's more tangible, something that works. And that's something that other people understand a lot more. I think everybody can understand the value and the direct compensation of a 9 to 5. It's going to be a lot harder for people to understand the value and the direct compensation you get from doing professional wrestling and being able to jump up and say, hey, you remember back in like 2018 when you told me, well, you're on some little wrestling show. Oh, you're not really doing anything important. Hey, it's 6 years later and I'm doing a lot more than you expected me to do.
Mm.
Hey, it's going to be 7 years later. It's going to be 8 years later, 9 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years later. And I've done so much that you didn't initially think that I could do. And I think that's something that definitely motivates me, is just being able to, do my I told you so dance. Hey, the fuck were you talking about?
Hey.
Yeah,
The
look,
fuck
yeah.
were you talking about?
Yeah.
Hey, Matthew Mims is that man in the street. What you talking about? But I think another thing that motivates me too is that, like, I've always tried to say that a lot of my career isn't for me. I didn't grow up with a lot of money. I really didn't grow up with most money at all. Uh, your boy was broke. Sometimes we ate sleep for dinner, and we had it for breakfast too.
Breakfast, yep. I was gonna
Sometimes
say.
Same here.
Been
You
there.
ain't alone.
Yep.
I mean, things are a lot different now, especially where I'm at because of professional wrestling. And I'm somebody who has known struggle for a lot of my life. Probably not as much struggle as other people or whatnot. I mean, somebody's always got it worse. That's how it goes. Um, poverty is an arms race. It's an arms race to the bottom,
Mm.
right? Um, but it's one of my biggest goals is to try to eliminate struggle for as many people as I know. Struggle to me is a necessary. One of my favorite quotes that I made up, I don't know if anybody else made it up, is that pain without progress is pointless, right? I think that people that struggle and they're not struggling in the way to get something, it's silly, it's pointless. Why does it exist? I understand the value of struggle. Let's say professional wrestling, I've worked hard at it. I've struggled to get to where I am. I'm going to continue to struggle to get to where I want to be. and realize my potential, it's going to be a struggle. And that's something that I am happy about. I want to struggle so I can value it more than anything else. But somebody else who's going without food, someone else who's going without water, who's going without clothing, like what's the point of their struggle? Where does this struggle get them? What's the point of that? You know, some people go through that struggle and they continue a lifetime of struggle and there's no reason to do it. And it's only because they didn't have somebody that they need. There was not people there for me for certain things that I needed, what I want to do with my career, what I want to do with my money when I get that is to make for sure that other people don't have that same struggle. To make for sure in whatever way I can, whether it's just listening to somebody, you know, bitch moan and complain about their problems, helping somebody with training, smartening somebody up in the backstage area and telling them like, hey brother, you might want to watch out here, you know, don't lose your job over this, you know, those kind of things. Whatever else I can possibly do to lessen other people's struggle, pointless struggle, to make things easier for other people. Whatever I can do with that, I want to. And I feel like with professional wrestling, that is my best way to reach the most people, to help the most people. I can't do that being Matthew Mims working at a regular 9 to 5. I can't do that sitting in McDonald's besides making for sure people have a meal that they want to eat, whatever garbage burger I'm trying to flip for them, right? I think more significant change, more significant things to help other people can happen while I'm doing professional wrestling. Ultimately, I want to have the same moment that made me decide that I wanted to be a professional wrestler. I want to be able to give that to a lot of other people. Um, I've told people this before, but the moment I decided I wanted to be a professional wrestler was whenever I was very young. It's why I decided to watch wrestling consistently, and I got addicted to it. It was a very small moment for a lot of people. They probably didn't think it was that big of a deal, but it was whenever Triple H came back from his quad tear injury. I was flipping channels and I happened to see him come back. I saw the entrance and everything unexpected. I think they were coming back from a commercial break, and then just boom, this just happens. And so everybody's going crazy. There's people crying. Everybody is clapping their hands. They're going wild for this guy. The music's on point, and I'm watching this, and I'm in like awe. Like I'm having goosebumps and everything. I don't know what's going on, and I'm like, I've seen wrestling before, but what is this? And I see that happen, and it throws me for such a big loop, and it has such an emotional resonance with me that I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Almost from the moment I saw the crowd reaction and heard them, I was like, I don't know what this is, but I want to do this. I want to be able to make people react to me like that. I want people to be so invested in whatever the fuck I'm doing that they're not they're not thinking about how they look. They're not thinking about how they sound. They're not thinking about whatever's going on at home. They're not thinking about whatever other struggles they have, because this is their relief right here. This is where they can jump up and down, act like a fool, and, you know, really just enjoy themselves. And this is something that I want to do with professional wrestling. That can be at the simplest level. The way that I help other people is that they get inspired by what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah.
They feel an emotional connection to what I'm doing, and it at least distracts away from the problems or keeps them, you know, hey, this may never happen like this. For some people it does. Some people can say wrestling saved their life. It gets you from walking off the edge, right? It makes you rethink a bad choice and ending it early. It's like I said, everything that I've described so far that wasn't just like, ha ha, na na na, boo boo, y'all was wrong, y'all don't know what you're talking about. Uh, all of that I think encompasses like 95% of why I continue to do professional wrestling, why I continue to achieve, and why I want to continue to do more.
That's what's up, man.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I did some research. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still a little bit new on you. So I did the old Facebook homework, or not Facebook, YouTube homework, and I got on the YouTubes and I started watching some matches of you. And I noticed you started out kind of like, you know, happy-go-lucky face type, and then I watched the virtual match, and you know, you got a valet now. You come out with a little smug on your face. You got like this heelish feel to you. You know, was that because of losing your first title, going into that, you being a little sour, or you know?
Boy,
when did the heel change happen, and what did it take for you to make that heel change?
This is where I feel like we could definitely benefit, the entire NWA could benefit from everything that we have ever done since day one, being in one place, easily accessible, right?
Yeah.
We went through a few different homes of where we made for sure people could watch our product, right? I think I am one of the few people in the company that my story spans my entire career. My story is like my career. It's different. It's just different parts of it, right? There's not always people that have like this continual story going on, but you know, the story that I have is something that is not just professional wrestling, it's interwoven with my real life, right? With things that have actually happened to me. That's been a part of almost every single storyline I've been in, is usually some element of it is true. Some element of it is real. It's not 100% fabricated. It's not like how you see a lot of professional wrestling where it's just like, hey, we're going to make this up in a creative meeting and this is all that's going to happen, right? A lot of that had to do with real people I was really involved with and working on our real relationship. So coming in, hey, I'm a ring crew guy. I'm setting up the ring. They give me an opportunity just because I'm setting up the ring and I get to be in there and get my ass whooped just like somebody who was just setting up the ring.
Right.
And eventually, through more and more matches, I finally get my first win, right? Get my first win over two guys who were big mentors to me that were having their own issues at the time, with the War Kings and Crimson and Jack Stane. Rest in peace. Um, so going from there and having a lot of tough matches, having a lot of emotional losses, and still being that person that was kind of like the NWA's resident Boy Scout who is not only happy to be there, that's definitely the happy-go-lucky thing, but enjoying the time that he's having there. Being somebody who really reaches out to the crowd and is that relatable baby face that everybody loved. And then I finally get a taste of gold, right? You know, I I think through that 18 months that I was talking about to get to the world television title, the story goes into, and again, this is real life. I have my first feud with Tyrus, the big scary monster heel, right? And he has a manager by the name of Black G's. Very familiar name, right?
Yeah. That was that.
Uh, and he's the first person that finally like catches my eye. Like Tyrus is the first person that catches my eye, and I want what he has. And I'm trying at this for over 6 months until finally we have our official match, and I get hurt. I I dislocate a shoulder, I get a concussion, I'm out. Right? I come back, and then what happens? Nothing but misfortune. I get beat by EC3 in his debut match. I come back again and I get beat by Tyrus in more dominant fashion before he moves on to the world title. I am basically going through it until eventually we have the Champion Series. Everybody gets a chance. You compete with your team. Everybody gets a chance with their team captains to all get free title shots, right? It's like Money in the Bank, but you got to work even harder for it for a longer time, right? It's a tournament that leads to the Money in the Bank compensation of, hey, free title shot whenever you want it, right? For whatever title you want. My team, finally, because the first time it happens for the Champion Series, we get close on Team Camille. Doesn't happen. Second time on Team Rock and Roll with Ricky Morton and Kerry Morton at the helm, it works, right? But during this time, I meet one of my first really good friends in the wrestling business in Dak Draper. And we go from there and we create a tag team. We create Magnum Muscle. It's cool. It's great. Everybody loves us. It's fantastic. We're popular. We're here. We're there, right? So since we won that Champion Series, I decided again to go for the world television title. At this point, it's in the hands of Jordan Clearwater, the protege of who? Tyrus. Oh my God. I can't escape this man.
Right.
What? I'm spending this whole time before I get with Dak just getting beat up by Tyrus and his group of flunkies or whatnot, who happen to be at this point holding almost all the gold. The only things they weren't holding was the tag titles. That's it. That's it. So then I get to this point where I finally meet Dak and we decide to go for tag team gold, right? He takes me under his wing because he's a vet, he's been in the business at that point in time, like 11, 12 years. He's been a Ring of Honor. He was a WWE guy for a little while. Like this guy's been places, right? And so I use my title shot. lose that TV title championship match. Finally give up on it. I'm like, you know what? I need another way to get to it, but this is not my time. Dak helps me refocus. Now we're going for the world tag team titles, right? After dealing with, our first couple stumbles as a tag team, we're really rolling here. We're making these wins. We're making progress. We lose his title shot for the tag team titles. Dang it. Why? Oh my God. Right? We're still doing fine. We lose for the tag team titles again, right? Well, we're in this whole weird three-way storyline between the tag team champions and La Rebellion, and then also BF2, who eventually become the world tag team champions. Dang it. We get kind of far in the Crockett Cup, still lose. Dang it. Why? And we still have a smile on our face, right? Eventually we get to the point where I decide I have the confidence after almost a year. I have the confidence to jump up and go for the NWA World Television Championship. Tom Latimer, future World Heavyweight Champion at this point, gives up the TV title, does his lucky sevens. He won 7 matches in a row, so he can go for the world title. He decides to do that, right? And he drops the television title. Well, it's up for grabs. There's a little tournament going on. What's going on here? We have 2 separate 4-way matches. I win mine. Oh, that means I get to go for the NWA World Television Championship. And dang it, wouldn't you know it? One of the World Television Champions from the first 3 seasons, what people like to call our golden age of NWA, just happens to show back up in a Zicky Dice. Dang it. Dang it. Dang it. Now, the guy who was a world television champion is now going to face some dork from the Ring Crew that since I've been gone for the past couple years, he stepped up. Nah, screw him. He ain't doing nothing. Bro, this man was a gopher. What are you talking about? Anytime I asked him to go for this and go for that, he was going for it. Okay, I'm just going to win the TV title all over again. No, he doesn't. I win. Yay, yay. I have my first title, and then it starts to hit me. I'm winning in dominant fashion, but then there's some things that start to creep up on me to where it's like, this is getting a little bit harder. This is getting a little bit weird. I do the nice guy thing, give my best friend a title shot. Probably not the best idea, because he comes in there and tries to compete. Oh, brother, what are you doing, Dak Draper? You should just lay down. What are you doing?
Chill out.
Come on. Friendly competition. You should have said no. Like, bro, I'm offering you the title shot, but you should say no because you want me to have it because we're supposed to be friends. What are we doing? We're a tag team together. What's going on here? No, this man tries his hardest and almost beats me. That is some bullshit.
That's almost like a knife in the back.
Man.
Like, what the fuck? So I roll out. I don't let them, because it's a time limit. It's a time limit match. I run the timeout. This is the first time you see me angry. This is the first time you see me not smiling about something. What's going on here? Right? Okay. Things are a little bit, not that great between us. And then, Maxie and Paler. They challenged me for my title. I lose the title because I wanted to take it easy on them because non-binary, not one of the guys, you know what I'm saying? Why would I just go fully? No, I'm the Boy Scout here. I don't care. And I lose and get embarrassed, get very embarrassed. And then I have to continue on. I'm letting that rage consume me. I'm getting very much upset about the fact that I lost my title, especially lost my title in a situation that didn't make any sense to me. I thought I was robbed. I thought I was cheated. And then Dak Draper shows back up, and we're still having problems. We're trying to do the tag team thing all over again. I don't want to be a part of the team. Who is this man? He stabbed me in the back. Fuck him. Fuck that man. What are you talking about?
Facts.
Bitch ass.
God.
We continue our losing ways, and at hard times, Dothan, Alabama, Matthew Mims had enough. Oh, that's where my new friend, new guy, Mr. Carson Drake, happens to be in a little 6-man tag with us against Maxie and Paler and the rest of their dorky friends. And Well, wouldn't you know it? Dak Draper loses the match. What an asshole! Why would you? Why would you just lose the match? Why not try winning? You're not winning matches. You've been going for the national title like crazy. You failed so many times at the national title. You could try winning. It's different. Hey, I've won matches. I've literally at least won 2 matches. Right? I got 2 titles. I won 2 times. You should try that out. It's a fun thing to do.
Oh man.
Nope. He loses, and I lose my shit, and I beat the shit out of him and throw him through a cage. Throw him through a cage door. And essentially, Dak Draper has died. That's just that. He has not been back since. He has not been back since. He got thrown through a cage, and they were just like, well, R.I.P. Dak Draper. Yeah. Who's this new guy that looks just like Dak Draper? His name is Sammy Six Guns. That's a very deep cut right there, by the way. But there's no more Dak Draper. He got thrown through a cage in Alabama and he never came back. And that was the start of the heel turn. From there, we kind of go for the wrestling nerds who want to go back into that older story there. I didn't complete with a lot of detail there, just the basic story about me. Eventually, I end up teaming up with the one person who knew exactly what I was missing. Mr. Black G's. Mr. Black G's. Oh, wait, that's that familiar name I was talking about. Oh, the manager to the stars. This man not only managed Tyrus to a world championship, but also he managed EC3 for just a few months, got cancer, real life, got cancer, left, but the influence was already felt. And then what does EC3 do? Become world champion. So just a little bit of influence from Black G's and you become world champion? Brother, what do I want to do? Become world champion. How am I going to do that? I don't know. I think Black G's might know exactly how to do that. That's my connect. That's my guy that's going to get me where I want to go. So even though he was my enemy at one point, stood around, danced around my limp body as I was unconscious and shoulder dislocated, just wanted to make a fun little jig about it, right? There's a clip of him doing that. Hilarious, right? But he also knows I have more potential than I'm realizing, that I can be a world champion too. So what am I going to do? Pay this man to make for sure I get where I need to be. Use that champion's purse I still have left over from that world television title to get me somebody who knows where I want to go and can definitely get me there. And he just happens to come back from not only surviving cancer, but then also right before I lost that title to Max the Impaler, what did he come back from again? This man got shot.
Jesus.
He got a life going on.
They tried to carjack this man in North Philly. And he said, you know what? That's crazy. I got this thing right here that says you ain't going to do that, big dog. And let's put it like this. I'm going to spoil the end of the story. He kept his car. He kept his car, and they got to hold on to a few of them bullets. He only held one in his hip. But they held on to a few more than bullets. So
respect.
He ain't limping no more, but they might just be forever. So somebody who's laughing in the face of death, I need that man in my corner. And what did I do? I got that man in my corner. He's cultivating a champion here. Just working with each other a few times, just about 2 or 3 matches, and then guess what I do? This man wins the national championship. That's crazy. It's almost like I'm doing the right thing now. It's almost like this isn't me being a bad guy. That's not what this is. It's not a heel smirk. It's me being smart.
That's right.
That's the thing. That's the thing. No more getting cheated. I do the cheating. We won't even call it cheating because this is the thing. Cheaters never win. Cheating is bad. That's why I don't do it. I just win. When you win, it's not cheating.
I respect it.
Yeah, exactly. Ask the New England Tom Brady's whenever they were the New England Tom Brady's. Right?
I was going to say Eddie Guerrero.
I'm a Raiders fan. So I know. I know.
Hey, Eddie never cheated because he was winning. That's exactly what it was. He didn't cheat to become world champion. He just won.
Hey, Rubbin's racing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But Mims, man, we got to wrap this one up. But we definitely appreciate you coming on, man. This was actually a great interview with you.
Yeah, definitely gonna have you on again because conversation was great.
100%.
Oh yeah, man. Also, one of them was just to get to know me, hear a little bit about my story and catch up to where we're at in NWA Power right now. So I'm glad I got to do that.
And also, I got to give a shout out to the guys at Downstate, Sean and Zach. They've been getting on me for probably about 2 to 3 years. Like, oh, you got to have Mims on. You got to have Mims. I'm like, listen, our platform is not like that right now. We got to do this at the right time, and I feel like this was to start off the 2025, man. It was perfect to start off with you, and definitely appreciate you coming on. Also, thank those guys again, man, for being on me. So, shout out to them.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate it. If anything, like I'm ready. I'm already ready for the second interview, the follow-up interview. Because this one's the introduction, man. There's so much exposition and stuff to know about me to get out of the way. I like the back and forth or whatnot, but I gotta tell the story. People gotta know what I got going on and all that extra stuff.
All respect.
Yeah.
Anything else, social media wise? Anything you want to shout out before we go?
Oh yeah, man. On everything, I try to keep it the same. It's either like really underscore Mims or just really Mims because it's really me. And for some reason, people think Mims is not my real name. Like, what? What? That 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 was a frequent YouTube comment or whatever on Power in the first couple of years. Mims, that's a stupid name.
Think about using him for a theme song.
Using Downstate for a theme song,
No,
brother,
Mims.
you're in luck.
No,
You're
Mims.
in luck.
No, he's talking
Wait,
about Mims.
Mims?
The rapper.
Wow. Brother, I've already got Downstate as the band who has made my theme song, so I think I'm good. I mean, if you want to hop in on the remix,
right.
This is why I'm big and strong, not this is why I'm hot.
Fair.
Well, man, we once again, man, we appreciate you for coming on, man. So yeah, this is the Wrestleholics podcast. I'm Drew.
DC Hendricks.
Manny T.
And we get back with y'all.